it's Jen with Astro Astrology. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the weekly forecast, the weekly astrology forecast for August 27th through September 2nd. So yes, September is coming. It's back to school. I think some have already started back to school. And unfortunately, I've been weak. I've been trying to fight it, but today I did go out and buy a 6-pack of the pumpkin beers. Oh, just something about that pumpkin spice. And then I did go to the Halloween store and got the most super cool Halloween decoration ever. Probably gonna have to go back. So anyway, jumping forward this fall season, which hasn't even started yet. We're just getting into Virgo, but let's go talk about the week that's coming up. So starting today, the 27th, we have the Sun in Virgo. And it is in opposition to Saturn that's in Pisces. So Saturn is about a foundation, and the Sun is about, what our drive is, what we're kind of manifesting, moving towards in this life. So this is really, inspiring us to build on this foundation, but because it is in opposition, Saturn is in Pisces, we're feeling a little bit foggy, we're feeling unsure, a little confused maybe. Pisces can really put in that confusing, when we're trying to move forward, we have that opposition there where we just, maybe we can't make a decision, maybe can't, think of how we actually want to proceed because things are going to be a little bit foggy. You're going to find a little bit of hardships when you're trying to progress. You may even be a little bit overly stressed. Saturn in opposition with the Sun can bring stress, can bring a lot of worry, and you can be kind of almost like filled with an anxiety that you just can't put your finger on. Saturn is in Pisces, so it's that, I know I've talked about this before, but it's that waking up in the middle of the night type feel when you're stressed, you're kind of feeling panicky, but you don't know why. You don't know what it is. You can't quite put your finger on it. Something's a little bit foggy. So, it's almost if you're placing your own barriers almost in self-detriment. So the opposition, that's that push and pull. And with this dynamic, you may push forward, and you may feel, as far as you push forward, you may feel you're getting pulled back just as far. The Sun in Virgo is trying to cut away the fat. The Virgo is about kind of trimming the fat, kind of getting down to the nitty gritty details. So we're trying to cut away the excess, to get our ideas organized, kind of mentally. We want to sort what's important, what's not important. But that Saturn and that foggy Pisces, it's really kind of hard to get that precision. And it comes with difficulty because that figuring out what's important and not, there's that fuzzy barrier to it. Also, what's going on today, on the 27th, we have a Mars moving into Libra. So this is another kind of odd dynamic. Not really odd, but it happens. So this is what I talked about in my last video on when planet is in its dignity and when it's in its debility. So with Mars moving into Libra, I have it a little bit far in here, but it's a little early. So with Mars moving into Libra, it is moving into the sign of its detriment. So it is in its dignity or in its rulership when it's in Aries, and when it is opposite its rulership, it is in its detriment. And also it's easy to kind of remember because anything that is a Mars ruled sign, or when a Mars is in any kind of exaltation or dignity, Venus is the opposite. So this is, and the same goes for Mars in a Venus ruled sign. It's in its detriment. So we know that Libra is a Venus ruled sign. So Mars is in its detriment. So they're opposites. They're kind of opposite planets. But Mars and Venus, opposites attract. So that's how the world goes around. Anyway, so again, it's in its detriment. So moving forward with our goals and plans again is faced with adversity because you know, that Mars wants the focus to be on me and what I want, but you have to think more about we, because it's in Libra. Libra is that kind of relationship. Libra is that balance, and you want to get approval from other people. On a more positive note, this can bring you allies and support. So Libra, that, you know, it brings a positive group. You know, Libra brings a loving, positive support into the mix. So you do have that support, but because of the Sun and Saturn opposition, and because of Mars and its detriment, it's going to be a little tough to, again, keep moving forward, to get our plans going. You know, there's going to be little things happening here and there, really depending on where it falls in your chart is where you're going to see it. So, you know, if Virgo is in, say, your 5th house, and you're planning on going on a date and you want to do something, and, you know, maybe he or she's changing the day, and, oh, I can't do that. Oh, well, how about this? And things seem to keep getting messed with adversity. You know, oh, how about this time? Oh, well, I'm doing something. I'm getting my hair done until this time. Oh, well, how about 8? Well, that's a little bit late because I have work, or who knows what. So that's just an example. You know, some of these transits don't always manifest themselves as something major. Sometimes it's just something a little bit minor. So just keep your eyes open. It's a great idea to keep a journal. I always suggest, you know, just writing things down. When I was young, I used to keep a diary, and I would write in it every single day something that went on. So if I ever want to look at maybe the transits that went on back then, I could pull out that diary and say, that's what I was doing on that day. And it might be just something a little subtle, not something that's totally life-changing, but just like a kind of that type thing. Like, interesting. So astrology does work. So moving on. So on the 28th, we have, and by the way, I am going to put a link. So if you haven't seen the video on the dignities and debilities, I am going to put a link in the description. Definitely check that out. Even though you might not be a super into astrology and wanting to know all the nitty gritty, and you're just kind of more into, you know, where the planets are lining up, definitely check it out. It's really informative. And if you have anything in detriment or in dignity in your chart, it's a great thing to kind of know how to work with that. So check the description for that link. So anyway, on the 28th, we have Uranus stationing retro. So Uranus right now is in Taurus. It's going to station retrograde. Now, Uranus is in retrograde for about 40% of the time. So it's not a huge deal. When the outer planets go retro, so when the outer planets, hi Bean, hi. Bean wants to be in the video. He was turning my computer on earlier, so I had a feeling he was going to show up today. So he kept turning it on. I was like, no, Bean hasn't been in a video in a while, so he's definitely going to make a appearance. So there he is. That's my Bean. So anyway, Uranus is retrograde about 40% of the time, so it's not a huge effect, but I like to kind of use these things. When you know about them, it's a good time to really kind of use it to your advantage almost. So with Uranus going and stationing retro, that means we have 7 planets plus the nodes and Chiron all will be in retrograde motion on this, you know, starting on this day. So only Mars and Jupiter are direct. Jupiter is actually slowing down to station because Jupiter is going to be going retrograde on September 5th. So a lot of slowness moving, kind of going on. So when Uranus is in retrograde, what we want to do to kind of use this to our advantage is, okay, so it's about a lot of inner reflection, kind of that, you know, Uranus, like heal ourselves. Use that Saturn, use that, you know, kind of like, okay, so I need to get serious. I need to kind of like focus on me, making myself better, making me a better person, and helping others, you know, we're going to be forced to face our fears. Maybe there's something that, deep down we haven't been wanting to face, something that's been bothering us. Think of that, that Sun Saturn opposition, where there's that something, that anxiety that we can't quite pinpoint. Well, let's use this to our advantage. Let's sit and let's meditate on it and just kind of just think, okay, so what is going on in my brain that is giving me this anxiety? So use the Uranus retrograde to really kind of reflect on yourself and kind of go inward and just really focus and, okay, let's figure it out. Let's calm down. Let's take a step back and look at this from the outside and work with it. So this anxiety will go away. So this uncomfort will go away, so that we can then, continue moving forward. So, again, not a huge effect, happens all the time, but really take these things going on, these transits going on to really almost benefit your own life. Use them to your advantage, because if you don't, a lot of times nothing ever even happens with things going in the stars, especially when it's transits that's not really hitting anything in your own chart. But when it's something like this, you just want to use it for your own benefit. Anything can help. Just kind of, just sit back, think back of what's bothering you, and kind of work it out mentally. It's a great time to do that during the Uranus retrograde. So on the 30th, it's a big week this week. Lots of good things happening. Well, good, lots of things happening anyway, not necessarily good, but lots of things happening. So on the 30th, we have the full moon in Pisces. So I gotta put my Velcro on this because my Pisces, when you see my Chirons on the back. So we have the full moon moving into Pisces and coming into its opposition with the sun, which makes it the full moon. Now, this is the second full moon this month, so that makes it a blue moon. So when you have two full moons in 1 month, the second one is called the blue moon. So it's actually a super moon. Super moon, I know I've said this before, these happen in the summer when the moon is at its largest. So when you go outside, the moon's going to appear really big. Now it's not necessarily going to appear blue because it's not blue, but it's just called the blue moon because it's the second full moon of the month. So the first month, this August is flanked with full moons, because on the 1st we had our first full moon, and now on the 30th we have our second full moon. So again, it's our super moon, it's our super blue moon, so definitely go out and try and take a look at it. It's going to be really big. If you have a nice clear sky, you're going to see it just really up there, brilliant. So again, this is going on in Pisces. We got a lot going on in Pisces. We got Saturn in Pisces, we got Neptune in Pisces, we got the moon in Pisces, we got over here, Sun in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo, we have Chiron in Virgo, that's Lilith. Lilith in Virgo, lots going on in the mutable signs. So we have a lot of that kind of, just going with it energy. So, you want to kind of keep going with that. So Pisces, it's about compassion. You feel that open. You want to open your heart to people that might need help. You want to open your heart to people that maybe think differently than you, that feel differently than you. Have that open interaction, and don't be closed-minded. Be more open-minded to hear somebody else's side. Use this super moon to start and culminate what we've started. So, Pisces is also about perception. It's about your intuition. You can be extra impressionable during this time and feel a little bit dreamy. So this is the climax to the new moon in Pisces that was on February 20th. So what's been going on in your life since then? What kind of things did you start back in the end of February that was going on with this current new moon cycle that's, going on. This actual new moon, it was the new moon on August 16th, but we really, because it's in Pisces, we want to go back to when the new moon was in Pisces. So what's been going on in your life since then? It's about the last 6 months. So for me, I know I use myself as an example, but I know what's going on in my life. So I can show you guys kind of how astrology works without even thinking about it, because I don't think about it on a daily basis of what's going on in my own life. I think of what's going on so I can do these weekly forecasts and what's going on a mundane level and, things like that. So when I kind of look back at stuff like this and I'm like, oh, hey. So for me, again, it was around the time that I started this YouTube channel. My first video came out on February 26th. And so it was kind of in the works. I was getting my plan. I was buying everything I needed. I bought my new computer. I bought my camera. I bought all the stuff that I needed to really start the channel. And so now it's kind of, well, I hope it's not coming to its, culmination, but I think it's really kind of working out. So yay, look at how we've grown. I have getting a lot of viewers and I'm getting a lot of subscribers, and I feel over the past few months, if you watch my first couple videos, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm not as, I guess well-spoken. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm super well-spoken anyway. I know I have trouble and I jumble my words sometimes, but unfortunately, my progressed Mercury is in retrograde, so stumbling over words and forgetting words, I guess, I'll just have to be used to it for a little while. So I just noticed that as well when I went to run my my solar return chart. I did my progressions. My birthday's coming up at the end of September, so I said, oh, let's take a look at what my year has coming up, and then I saw that Mercury going retrograde, and I was like, oh, no wonder. My husband has pointed out many times, like, you're having trouble figuring out words. It's like, I don't know, my brain's just broken. So that's how that's working out for me. But anyway, so I do feel, though, over the past few months, I'm slowly finding my groove. I'm figuring out kind of what content I want to give to you guys. So I hope that you continue with me on this journey. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the future videos, and we can just see how we grow from there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So how does this relate, to what's going on? So the full moon in Pisces, and all that, I got Saturn in there. Saturn is a big part of my chart. Now, a lot of people are scared of Saturn. Saturn with this opposition to the sun that's going on, and it's a mutable sign. See, I have always had something partial to Saturn. I've always kind of been drawn to Saturn, or a lot of people are more, when you're young, Jupiter, it's so big and it's such a positive planet. Something's always been about Saturn. Now, I am a sun in Libra, and Saturn is exalted in Libra, and I am a Capricorn rising. And, what rules Capricorn? Saturn. So I feel like Saturn's always been something that's worked for me. I've always been very responsible. I even hear it from members of my family, my sister, like, oh, you're always responsible. How can you always be so, your house is so perfect, you're everything, and you're always planning parties, and you have so much going on, but everything seems to fall into place. Well, that's that Saturn that works for me. So anyway, getting off on a tangent. So how does it relate, me bringing this channel with this the new moon that was in Pisces on the 20th of February, and now how we've grown? So Pisces is about your dreams. It's about that intuition, and kind of that, not psychic, but that kind of like almost occult type stuff. So it's always been my dream to kind of be open and working in the occult sciences. I've always been fascinated by them. I've always loved tarot. I've always loved astrology. Palmistry I've tried all sorts of things. Astrology really seems to be the one that stuck, but I'm also really trying to get back into tarot. So just being able to bring this to you guys is a dream of mine. Who knows, might not be lucrative. It'd be really nice if it was. I have my full-time job, which is my Saturn in Capricorn, or I'm an accountant. So, there's Libra right there, working with people's money, being serious, being a foundation. But I am working on my deep, deep dream of working with people in the occult sciences and bringing, knowledge to everybody else, reading people's charts, telling them why do I feel this way? Why do I have these issues? Well, here's why. You can see it. It's not something that could be horrible, but once you know about it, you can work with it. So that's what I'm trying to bring you guys when I bring these videos to you. And I hope that you are understanding, and I hope that you enjoy it. So again, if you guys ever want a reading, please contact me, astrotastrology@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to provide a chart and a simple natal reading for you to just kind of get some basics. So think about, again, the dates and the dreams that you've been working on and how you have maybe manifested them to become reality. If this is something, if you have Pisces on one of your angles as one of your luminaries, you're going to be feeling this full moon. Again, the emotions are going to be very high. Pisces is a very emotional planet. It's a watery planet, so expect waterworks. Just building up to this. I've been crying at the drop of a hat. I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. So just everything, but got a lot going on and a lot of positive things going on in my life. My crying has always been for positive things in the past couple months. I've had a lot of great things happening, so it's all building up to positivity. So hopefully this positive buildup will keep kind of flowing. So the super blue moon is very rare, and it won't be happening again for the next 14 years, where we're going to have 2 full moons in 1 month. So that is according to NASA. Blue moon is, again, when the full moon occurs twice in 1 month. It appears very large, but again, not necessarily blue. Definitely try and get out and check it out. Expect high tides. Hopefully, we won't be getting too much. We do have, it is in a sextile with Jupiter so hopefully we won't have that super expansion, that super swelling of water that could cause problems. I know that there's been a lot of floods lately in California. It's either you have floods going on here. I know what's happening in my area in New England. Every other day it's just downpouring. It's not even just a little bit of rain, but it is downpour. So hopefully, it'd be nice now that this is coming to culmination that might subside a little bit, hopefully, and there won't be so much just devastation going on in the world. There's just so much going on right now, and then we have the wildfires too, and there's just a lot going on. But maybe now that Mars is moving into Libra, maybe that'll stop. Hopefully some things won't ignite. Maybe we kind of will unite and work together to kind of take care of this and make it so this won't happen, and they won't be burning for months and months and months like the Canadian wildfires. They've been burning for just so long, and we've been actually getting smoky around here in New England that we can see from the smoke from Canada. It's just kind of crazy. So hopefully, now that moon is at its culmination, now that it's going to be waning, it's going to kind of calm a little bit. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. So, also, really important is because this is an intuitive sign, you want to really let yourself surrender to your own intuitions, your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities. Go with what your gut is telling you. You want to really remember your dreams. And again, that's where that journal is going to come in. So you want to get that journal out. And, as you're writing what happened to you that day, maybe write like, when you first get up in the morning, when your dreams are still fresh, because it's really fast that they disappear. It's funny because you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that dream was crazy. 5 minutes later, I have no idea what that dream was about. That's what happens to me anyway. So you want to remember those dreams. Keep that journal by your bedside. Jot things down. Just even jot down like the key features of it so that you can remember a little bit better. The reason you want to keep your mind open, your heart open, is because someone might be trying to contact you. Is there someone that's passed that maybe you've been thinking a lot about, maybe that's coming to you in your dreams? Keep that dream journal. Maybe you're going to see is that grandmother, that parent, that somebody special that you lost that might be coming to you to tell you something, to guide you. My husband actually had a moment the other night. He did lose his uncle. I think we talked about that on a previous episode or previous video. And his uncle was a big hunter. He saw these deers in a meadow, and it was almost like it was sent to him because he's never seen them in that meadow. Every morning he passes it. This particular morning he was thinking about his uncle, and he just happened to see him. So, you never know how this stuff is going to manifest in your life. So what else do we have going on with the new moon? We have Saturn in conjunct to it. So there's that barrier, that's that obstacle, it's that reasoning, that rationale that's going to help us with that foggy Pisces. Saturn is the gatekeeper, but don't let him close the gate for your spiritual growth. You want to open that gate. You want to go past him. Don't let him close the gate. Use that Pisces to just kind of like make it fogged and just kind of, have your aura just kind of go right through it. So bringing it all together, the vibe this week is to be open-minded, be willing to go with the flow, accept that change. Again, we have that bulk of planets in the mutable signs. So, even with all these retrogrades, the Saturn conjunction, the Saturn opposition to the Sun, that's all going on in Pisces. It may leave us, the retrogrades, feeling like we're stuck in the mud, physically and spiritually. Well, we want to sit, meditate, open your minds, think back, reflect, fix what's bad in your life, fix what's hurting you, fix what's bringing you anxiety, really work with that. Accept what the universe is trying to convey to us. And that's about all. So I hope y'all have a great week. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Continue with me on this journey, and we're going to have a great time. I promise. Hit the notification bell and get notified of future and fun fall activities we have coming up. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.